Following the lowest scoring Super Bowl in league history, and the fact that viewership was down 5% overall over the course of the last calendar year, does the NFL have a perception problem, a public relations concern, or is it simply an anomaly? That's where I began my discussion with Tim Chovers, the executive producer of podcasting for NBC Sports Washington, when he joined me this week to debate some NFL hot topics. Okay, so first of all, we want to welcome you to the Two-Man Advantage Podcast, and we want to thank you for joining us today, Tim.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on. There's some people who haven't loved a lot of the moves that the NFL has made. The NFL is a divisive political issue in some circles, not all. But overall, also as it relates to television viewership, people are watching games in different ways. They're not watching on linear TV like they used to. So those numbers can be misleading. But overall, I think the NFL had a really good year considering some of the years previously.
And when we look at transitioning into what happened in this coaching cycle, you had a couple of themes that were prevalent when you look at teams wanting to go sort of the Sean McVay younger coaching route, developing quarterbacks, and there was also a lack of African-American minority candidates getting opportunities to be head coaches. So I'm just wondering your thoughts on the overall general coaching hiring cycle this offseason.
Yeah, it was a weird cycle, really headlined by Cliff Kingsbury getting the Arizona job. Steve Bush got fired after 1 year there, minority coach. They had a very poor year, but I always think it's odd to fire a coach after one season, especially if things, their starting day quarterback got hurt, Sam Bradford. So that was a surprise. Cliff Kingsbury wasn't all that successful at Texas Tech. He gets fired as a head coach in the Big 12 and then gets hired as a head coach in the NFC West. That seemed to be a real head scratcher to me. I thought the Brian Flores hire, minority coach in Miami, was a great one. He just won the Super Bowl as defensive coordinator. But that one didn't make nearly the news that the Cliff Kingsbury one did just because it was such an unusual hire.
Tim, I'm also curious to get your opinion and feedback on why we had such a sluggish Super Bowl in terms of quality of the game and the entertainment value.
I think it was mainly because the Rams' biggest offensive weapon, Todd Gurley, clearly was not 100%. He split time with C.J. Anderson in the NFC Championship game as well, and so Belichick, defensive mastermind, head coach of the Patriots, knew that and really game planned against Jared Goff and made Jared Goff beat him, and that's not the best recipe of success for Los Angeles. And just as to why New England was slow, I don't really know. That was just kind of a bizarrely slow offensive day for the Patriots, and it's just one of those things where, just one of those days where it was just a bad offensive day. I don't know if there's too much to be made from it other than the initial analysis I just gave.
And do you have any thoughts on whether the NFL should look at the pass interference penalty as a whole, and how do we make sure that we get calls right without slowing down sort of the pace of the game?
What I say is, because the pace of the game part to me is the key there, I would not make it so the pass interference is reviewable, because you would be having reviews nonstop, basically every downfield passing play. The game has enough stoppages and breaks in the flow as it is, and also it's just too hard to follow. I mean, you would have so many controversial replay decisions. What I think should happen, though, is that there should be clauses in the final 2 minutes of the game. You can have either it can be reviewed, or it's make it reviewable in the final 2 minutes or final minutes, even cut down on it. That way you can avoid what happened in the NFC Championship game where you had this blatantly missed call with no recourse to fix it.
So you want them to adopt sort of the NBA policy within the last 2 minutes then? A similar...
Yeah. I mean, that would be the best, most comparable example.
Now, when we look at your wheelhouse with the Washington Redskins, obviously Alex Smith went down with that leg injury. So I'm just wondering your overall thoughts on what Washington's going to do at quarterback this year.
I think they're going to go in with Colt McCoy at quarterback. He was the backup last year. He barely played because he got hurt himself on the Monday night game right after Alex Smith got hurt. Well, he did play one game against the Cowboys, but his tenure was brief last year. He has started in the past. He has won games in the past. I think he is one of the 35 to 40 best quarterbacks in the league. I don't know if he's one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the league, but I think the plan is to go with him at QB. I don't know if they're going to draft a quarterback in the first round. I think they will draft a quarterback or two. What round it is, I'm not sure, but my expectation for week 1 this year will be Colt McCoy under center.
And can you just give me a progress report on what people are saying about Jake Gruden there at head coach? He sort of had a up and down tenure there, and he really hasn't delivered in sort of playoff consistency. So I'm just wondering your overall thoughts on the job he's done as head coach.
Yeah, typically when you have 5 years and you make one playoff visit, you lose your job. Unusual mitigating injury circumstances the past 2 years. The team always seems to be kind of hovering around 7 to 9 wins under him, which isn't great, but gives you a shot late in the season. This year, they were 6-3, and the next thing you know, they're down to their 4th string quarterback. I think that if they went 6-3 and Smith never got hurt and then they finished 7-9, I think he would have lost his job. But given that they had to have Mark Sanchez and Josh Johnson playing the final 2 weeks, I think that saved his job. Some people would like to see him go. Some people are understandable because of the injuries. I think he has no excuses heading into this year. I think it probably is playoff or bust for him.
And what do you think should be their top offseason priorities?
Well, I know that I just said I expect Colt McCoy to be under center, and he's already on the roster. But either way, quarterbacks should be their top offseason priority. If they're not 100% comfortable with McCoy under center, then they need to make another adjustment, whether it's draft a quarterback in the first round or make a trade or sign one of the free agent guys or try and get a Teddy Bridgewater, something like that. I would also say they need to address the running back situation. Adrian Peterson did very well for them last year. Darius Geis is coming off of injury. They just need to figure out who their top 2 running backs are heading into next year.
Tim, what headlines from across the league will you be keeping a close eye on this offseason?
I think the main one is just the league's health in general. The league had a really strong year last year, as I mentioned. We'll see if that continues into next year. I think secondly, is Patrick Mahomes going to continue his MVP run? Is he going to be the best player in the league? And then I also think another headliner is, I thought that this past New England team was the worst of the championship teams. And are we sort of seeing the last hurrah of Belichick and Brady this